that drives for Uber and Lyft. Joe currently uses multiple phones to efficiently drive for Uber and Lyft. But this can be a pain at times and very unsafe. That was until Joe found Maximo, the rideshare app that automates Uber and Lyft ride requests. Maximo will use the filters set by Joe, like time, distance, and passenger rating, to determine which rides are best suited for Joe. When a ride request comes in, Joe doesn't need to worry. Maximo will automatically accept the ride request that matches his filters, and then turn off the app that isn't currently on a ride. Once Joe finishes the ride, Maximo will turn everything back on. This will allow Joe to focus more on his passengers and driving safe.
Hey, happy Sunday, everybody. What's up? Two things, not four. For one, I have the air conditioner kicking, and it will be for about 10 minutes, just so that the room's cool enough for me to be in. So that noise. And also, I just took an allergy pill because I woke up, I was like sneezing for a half hour. So in the next 10, 15 minutes, all that should clear up. But good morning, Mac. An early start. Yes, sir. An early start because my son starts his job this week. He didn't get it's weird. Because he's a lifeguard now for the city. I guess every week you can go in and check the days that you're able to work. So he checks every day just to check box. Doesn't have times or anything like Monday, like through all 7 days, you can just check them. And then so he like checked everything for next week being his first week. But I don't think that Monday they're starting anybody. Everybody's starting on Tuesday that trained last week. So he has today and tomorrow off. And I think he's doing something with his friends tomorrow afternoon. So I do want some time with him today. So if Gary joins in a little bit, I'm gonna run for about an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. But then if Gary joins in, wants to keep it going, maybe I'll come back. We'll see what happens. But yeah, the allergies, you guys. Holy shit. I left my windows open last night and woo. I woke up, my eyes were like bleeding and I couldn't breathe. So I'm doing much better now. I just gave myself one of these and problem solved. Okay. What's up, Mac? What's up, Gabriella? What's up? Hey, Gabriella, how are you? What's up, DoorDash Red? How are you? What's up, Josh? I think I saw an email from you. I will get back to it. I've just had a hectic weekend, so but I did see it. What's up, Rex? Yeah, so if you just coming on in, and the other, I guess, what did I count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the other 6, 7 people watching. What's up? If you did come in, the noise is this air conditioner here to my side. I left it off, which I usually leave it on at 9. And yeah, like Max says here, yeah, same here, dude. Yesterday I was doing yard work and it had been raining and I let it go a little too long. I was pulling out some big stuff and it's just everywhere in our yard right now. So yeah, a little bit of morning craziness, but I'm hanging in there. I always make the show happen when I can. Or I always make the show happen because of my production background. There was one time, if you guys know about it, on a Thursday roundtable where I had my teeth pulled about a month back. And then I got COVID the next day. And Hannibal and Gary and everybody were like, no, you don't need to do this. So Hannibal, Gary, Dash Theory, John, and Kim did the show without me. That's the only time that I wasn't on the show. However, I used the same thing I say when I'm doing production. The show must go on. And those guys pulled it through for me, and I think they did a great job, actually. So I was like dying. I couldn't even crawl into my bed that day. But I was watching it on my phone from the floor and falling in and out of sleep. Excuse me one second. Oh my gosh. You guys, it's killing me. Mac, I can't even imagine living where you are because I've been up to Portland a lot, and man, my allergies go crazy up there. And I've even been up more north to Seattle and Vancouver, and for some reason they're not as bad there. So it's crazy. Portland's been one of I love the city. I think it's a great city to go have some fun in, but wow, I can't take the allergies, and it's almost year round for you guys or something, or at least for me. I mean, but yeah, Josh. So yeah, he hasn't started the job yet. Um, he's because he's a lifeguard, so he had to do the training first. He had to do his CPR. He had to do pulling bricks and cinder blocks out of the bottom of the pools. He had to do like they just did a lot of training, like 8-hour training days where he came home just dead. And so Monday through Thursday last week were his 4 training days. Or Thursday was a half day, and then Thursday afternoon was the certifications that you had to pass. He passed it, and then if you passed, you stuck around, and then they basically would hire you on the spot because they're so short of people. I mean, they were guaranteed to be hired anyway, but yeah, that's the other thing. He doesn't know where he's going to be working yet. However, it's going to be one of the pools, one of the rec areas in the area, so he'll be able to bike, and yeah, we're all happy about that. Yeah, I'm fucking dying. Faith, what's up? Faith is our guest on this coming Thursday's roundtable. And actually, this is a busy week for me. So this week, I got my co-host for the podcast of the co-hosting I've been doing is Jason from Idaho. I don't know if you guys remember Jason Pease. He's a good friend of mine. He's Drive to Win 13 on YouTube. And then on Tuesday, I have the once a month thing I do with Lou and Mary. We had so much fun doing those other ones that once a month, every second Tuesday of the month, we're going to be doing a collab, and it might, who knows what it's going to be. It's just going to be fun. And then just regular week, a lot of stuff going on. So the podcasts, the this, that, the other, fitting in my curry work and all my other stuff, along with starting to plan some of my summer stuff. At least got to get, because of the last couple years has been weak, so I'm trying to get 3 14ers in to get them out of the way. I'm at 24 now, so my son and I have a little pin board, and we just, the ones that we've knocked off, he's knocked off like 5, but I've knocked off like a bunch. So I'm about halfway through them, but that just means that the ones that I have left are just brutal. Adam, what's up? Yeah, I appreciate that. It was really hard work for him, but I was a big swimmer, and and still am. He's been a big swimmer, and he's a strong swimmer, and he went out and got that job on his own. All his other buddies were going out and getting jobs at the movie theater or at hey Sam, let me fix your status. Adam, I can fix yours too. Here, let me do that since I'm just kind of screwing around while my allergies. I'm waiting for my allergies to come back or to come around. Let me give you guys some. Oh, is there? Let me see how many of. Because wait, why doesn't Gabrielle have one? Do you do delivery that? You mean deliver that? I did sign up for Deliver That through UDM's link just recently, so I have not started it yet. I have a lot of things going on right now, and I really, Curry beats the crap in this market out of every offer, so it's hard for me to start apps, because why would I when it, even at the best offers, Curry pays 3 to 4 times in my market, and now they are, and now Curry is able to provide me work all day. It's not just fill in work. It's I have to pass up orders. I get 15 to 20 a day, and part of that's because of the gas issue, and the fact that like people with bigger trucks who might normally get a job, as long as it can fit my SUV, they'll give it to me, because people are passing those up if they're paying, if their truck or their van gets 12, 13 miles to the gallon. I mean, that's just, you just can't, even if it's good pay, you can't make the money. So a lot more offers are coming my way. So if you've been on a Curry wait list, I would suggest to reach out via email, and be very descriptive and send to driver at Curry. Or Mac, you might need to correct me here. Is it driver or is it driver? Or is it Curry? I think it's driver. I think it's singular. Driver at curry.com. Send them an email and tell them you've been on the wait list. Be very descriptive and ask them if there's any chance of getting off. I used to be able to help guys. I helped about 15 to 20 people do that. But yeah, I'll get there in just a second on it. It has nothing to do with why, but Curry and I were in a major sponsorship together. They're still on board with me, but I was really working with their team too. Like I was I don't know if you guys saw my video from Friday, but I was kind of describing what a sponsorship is compared to like plugging things. And I won't have sponsors I don't believe in, but I usually work pretty heavily with them too, to be like, what I've done for Para, I'm the driver advocate. So it's almost fun for me because I'm working with them, but my job is to find the errors and the problems that drivers are having and relay it back to them. So I love it. I love that I get to do that and have them as sponsors because, to be honest, it is something these companies need. They need to have people like me do it. Like, why would you go sponsor somebody who's just going to sell for you and never have used the product and doesn't know anything about it? You know what I mean? You want somebody like me who isn't going to, I'm not going to say negative things, but I'm going to go back to the company because I have a direct line of contact with everybody, all the way up to the CEO on all of the companies I work with. So I can go back to the team and say, hey, I've talked to 4 drivers. Here's some issues we're facing. What do you know about this? And if they don't, they try and get it corrected before I have to do the next plug for them, so that I'm able to actually say, hey, and then, or at least on the next live or whatever, say, hey, so if you guys were having this issue, it's been corrected. I did that with Curry for a long time. So just so you guys know, the companies that I back, I use them. I believe in them. I think even so a lot of them are just tools for gig workers, like Maximo, driver utility helper. Now we have Solo and we have Moves on board. So I'm dissecting those right now. They're going to start to be plugged into this stuff because they're tools that are free that can help you big time. But like apps like Curry, the reason I'm on board with an app like Curry is because Curry proved to me that they are the highest paying gig in the country. And that's for 2 years in a row. They've been the highest paying gig in the country, and for gig apps. So, and I did it. I was proven. I have seen that is the case. I mean, on a per mile basis, you are paid way better on Curry, even if one job isn't as good as the next one. Overall, just delivery for delivery against order for order or passenger for passenger, you are paid better per mile on Curry than any other app in the country for the last, well, I don't know about this year, but for 2020, 2021, which was the pandemic years too. Best paying app. And that wasn't the only thing, because even without the pandemic, they would have done great. Their model is strong and it's for construction, last mile delivery services that are needed at last minute. And those companies are willing to pay a lot of money. So first, let me just correct a couple of things, because there's a couple of you in here that I believe need handles. If you're not sure what is up with those or whatever and why I give them out because I think that it helps you guys communicate better, because then you're able to drop links, you're able to share things, talk easier with each other, check out each other's channels. There's just a lot more features. Plus, I never really seem to have a problem with those spamming bots. But if I do, I know that you guys are like snipers and you take them out, and I love it. So, Adam, I'm giving you a wrench. The only thing is, guys, I've only had to do this twice, but I have had to pull wrenches away. And that doesn't mean that anytime that person comes in, they catch it bad or something, but it does mean that, just don't abuse it. Don't start swearing or going off on somebody. I do expect people to be nice to each other in chat. It's not just about like how you're reacting to me. I could care less. But just don't swear. Don't go off on people. Having conversations or disagreeing, but stating your case, that's fine. All that's fine. I mean, that's what this is all about. However, don't go off on people for no reason or just start swearing at them or something. Things that show that you're not having a conversation, you're just going off. Samuel, I just gave you a wrench and I forgot one from Beck. Oh, Gabriella, if you're still on here, I hope you are. You must be because it came right up. I gave you a wrench because you are all people that I know and or at least have seen around enough to give you that trust. And then just don't abuse the wrench power because other wrenches can't hurt a wrench or accidentally put you in timeout or anything. And if you're not 100% familiar, having that wrench does allow you to share hyperlinks and stuff like that. Like, don't spam it, but if you want to share your channel, I'm cool with that. Just put it out once or something. I'm happy. I'm fine with that. What I do ask is don't just put a hyperlink though. Put a little bit of text before it. So like say, hey, this is if you're interested, this is my link. And then if it comes up from you, yeah, I know who you are, Sam. You introduced yourself, and I've seen you in Pedro's thing before. And I know he's always shouting out to you, so he knows you too. So, yeah, we're good. And I threw you a wrench, so you should have one too. I'm just when I look at StreamYard, you guys, I don't see who has wrenches and whatnot. And Sunday's the only day I can really look because on other days I'm only looking at StreamYard, and it doesn't show me anybody who has a wrench. But yeah, so that's that. Let me do one thing. I'll be right back. So yeah, I'm glad that I had the air conditioner on. Yeah, Josh. But but why not? It doesn't matter how many gig tubers. Some come on here and just fail. Some come on here and put out misinformation. Some come on and have specific niches like recently, and I'll give him the plug that I wanted to give him anyway because I gave it to him the other day, is John McCallion, for example. Okay. John's had a channel since like 2018, but he stopped putting out content, about a year ago. And I told him, I said, start putting out content on a regular basis. He has been dropping a daily video for the last 3 weeks. So I'm plugging him big. And he's going into a space where nobody really else is. People kind of hint in it. I've talked about it. I've heard Pedro talk about it. I've heard UDM talk about it. I've heard others talk about it. But mental health. Hannibal's talked about it. We all have, but John has. If you don't know John McCallion, let me see. Or even if you do know John McCallion, John has written 3 books. This is his newest one, The 5 Foundations of Contentment, and they're really good. John is a writer. It's all applicable to the gig economy. However, John, what he's writing is really applicable to anything you might do. But it's, obviously it's the kind of insight where it's, you can take it or, this is paint, or not. His reads are, I'm not really, sadly, I'm a reader when I need to be. Like, if I need to learn something, I can read a manual or a book to do it. I don't really enjoy reading the way that a lot of people do, especially nowadays with everything being like Audible too. So it's like, but John's books, like, you can sit down, take them all. You can read them pretty quick. They're not long, difficult reads, but the read you can take in quick. But the digesting what you read takes a little bit because like you start thinking about things in different ways. So, um, but yeah, John has a channel. It's just look up John McCallion. It's spelled just like that. So if you look up that name, you will find his channel. But anyway, his subscribers, had kind of stopped because he hadn't put out content forever. Now he's done like he does a daily video uh every day of like 4 to 10 minutes on different aspects, and he's about to write his next book. So he's actually kind of trying to feel out some of that stuff before he writes it this time, which I think is a great idea. Yeah, I know you like to read and write. I actually write truth a little bit too. I write for my website, and then I write for a couple other blogs too. What is this? Yeah, yeah. Actually, it's kind of funny you said that because John is in LA. I'm in Denver, and John's never been to Denver. So John is coming out from LA to Denver, and we're gonna spend a day. I'm gonna spend a day showing him, not the tourist Denver, but Denver. I'm gonna spend a day showing him Denver, and then we're gonna take 2 cars. It would be better if we could take one, but we're gonna take 2 cars out to the conference from here. So we're gonna caravan, I guess, is what you call it. I actually asked John if do I have mine right here? I got to show you guys. Sorry, I got to bust on you, John, a little bit. It's not busting on you. I just got to. First of all, maybe everybody else is going to say the same thing. I just don't think so. I said to John, I said, hey, do you have a CB? And he responded back via text. He's like, what's a CB? Okay, so I sent him a picture of just this, not the for those of you that do know for sure, like not the whole thing, but I sent him this. I said this is a CB, right? This is a CB. And I said, do you have one of these? He goes, I have no idea what that is. So I said, truckers use it. Their radios. They have a thing, which I do have too. You got that plugs in, but that wasn't showing. But when he said that, I was like, I guess you don't have a CB. So, because I was hoping he would, because CBs are nice if you are caravanning. I haven't done it in so long, but it's nice to have your music going, have your your route, your speed, all that kind of stuff running on your apps, and not have to have speakerphone going too, but just be able to grab that, be on a private channel, and just be able to chat whenever you want. So hey, yo, pull over. CB equals old school social media. You know what though? Do truckers still? I don't know. Delivery beta. Uh, um, if they still, do they not use them? I don't know. I would think they still do. CBs are good because they're short range radios. Like even if okay, um, let's take a way long shot for instance. Like if the zombie apocalypse happened, if the power grid went down, things like that. Short range radios would still work. So, I mean, they're nice to have in your car, especially here in Colorado. I like to have it. This is one I haven't installed yet because my old car got totaled. But yeah, exactly. So delivery beta. So like when I'm up in the mountains, there's a lot of dead spots. Like for Verizon, there's a ton of dead spots. And I know that a lot of people will disagree in the area you live in. And even I would disagree if I lived in those areas. However, I have AT&T out here because both AT&T and Verizon work the same in Denver. However, up in the mountains, you get a lot more coverage from AT&T. And I know that's not the case around the country. Trust me. I don't really think either company is one's better than the other, but I do recognize that in some areas Verizon is stronger. But like there's times like I'm really glad in the winter I have a CB in my truck. That's why in my old one I had one, but I'm about to put this one in. So I just got this one for $30 on Amazon. So I mean, and it's fine. It's perfect. It's exactly what I need. You can spend more if you want, but $30 to have something that if everything else shuts down, if your car runs out of juice, uh, if your battery dies in the snow up in the mountains, I can get on my CB and I can um I I can get on the CB and I can try and get a trucker or somebody to know where I am at least. So and try and come help me because otherwise I'm screwed. And even in some of those places where I said that are dropout zones that and I'm not talking about well, are you talking about, there's not a city for 100 miles? No, I'm talking about 20 miles outside of Gunnison. And maybe you don't know where that is or Crested Butte. Some of these mountain towns, you might find yourself camping in an area that has no cell reception, and nothing. But if you needed it, your CB would reach to the highway that runs by 5 miles away from wherever you are camping. So I don't know. I think they're helpful for $30 to have one in your car. You don't even need to keep it hooked up or attach it to the dash. You can just keep it in your trunk or whatever in the box. I'm actually going to install mine. I'm going to drill it in. I'm going to have it underneath my dash because I don't care. But yeah, I think that I don't think it's a bad thing. But maybe it depends on where you live. Too. If you live in New York City, you probably don't need a CB because if you break down, there's going to be a million people around. So you're not going to be in that kind of situation. So I saw that. Yeah, I saw you said cell phones now, but I was talking about cell phone towers went down. That happens too here in Colorado in the mountains during the winter. So I guess it depends on where you live. For me, a CB actually has use, but I also use it with friends. Like if we're driving up to go snowboarding and stuff, when we get caught in traffic, um, and especially if we're doing backcountry and stuff, it's nice to be able to stay in touch. And if one of us is 10 miles ahead in stop go traffic, and we're going to do some backcountry, and they're like, "Hey, we're going to take a different route." Uh, yeah, we could be using cell phones, but again, it's nice to have everything set up, not have to touch anything and make calls or figure out texting. Just be able to grab that thing, be on your own wave, and do that. But I'm also working on yours too. Oh, okay. Oh, Sam, you're now I know who you are too. It wasn't just that you've been on Pedro. You're the one doing the website. Uh, for the 2022. Let me see if I have the banner here. I do. That I Sam, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is Sam that is doing this website, guys. Where am I pointing to it? This website. Uh, and so yeah, you can all congratulations and thanks should go to Sam for that. And make sure that you go to the website, take a look, and even if you're not going to make it, take a look. So at least you're familiar with what's going on. And if you are going to make it, make sure to I think again, Sam, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that you can email Pedro directly from there, or somehow you can say that. Okay, and say that yes, you're going to come because the RSVP, you guys, is big, and I've talked to Pedro a few times, and I think he would really prefer if even those of you who are on the fence and with gas prices and everything that's going on. You want me to remove your wrench? Okay. Um yeah, just put that screen away. I huh. I guess I can here in a second. Uh are you sure? I mean, it's no harm, no foul. It just lets you, help. If you were the only one in here with a wrench, I know a lot of times a lot of people are, but if you were the only ones in here with a wrench, then okay. Yeah. I see my DoorDash career in here too. Um, yeah, I'll get it done after the show. Um, 1 second here, guys. God damn, what a morning with my allergies. So yeah, delivery beta. I will get rid of that. Um, I guess that's weird. I've never had anybody else do that before. So okay, what was I seeing from? What is the latest with Para? Para is broken. Para's not broken, dude. This happens. This happens. Uh, um, it happens a lot to Para. So it's just been down a little longer than normal. Yeah, I mean, DoorDash has been down in many markets this weekend for here and there. I mean, like I had a bunch of markets yesterday telling me that even DoorDash was down. So I mean, like things happen. It's when they change up a code or something. If you've been using Para for a while, you've probably known this that sometimes it goes down for a day or so. It's again part of the reason why David won't take any money on charging for it yet, because he's like, until it's perfect we can't do that. And I'm like, but even the apps aren't perfect. So I agree, maybe it's not a charge thing, but I always thought Paris should have a donation page up. But yeah, so the loaded on Benadryl, I take the 24-hour. The only thing that really works for me is the 24-hour Claritin non drowsy, and I just take it in the mornings, and usually by night where it's not having any kind of effect that would keep me awake. But it seems to be the only thing that works. Like the over the counter ones don't work. The Benadryl would just knock me out. Uh, I'd be asleep. So even in the day, um, but yeah, I use the Claritin 24D, and it seems to work just fine. They just need me to sign that Breaking Bad sheet that says like I'm not going to make speed out of it or whatever. So, like, dude, you only sell me 10 at a time, even if I knew how to make speed, or I was gonna like, what am I gonna do with these 10? So, um, yeah, I bet. This is what sucks too about the ones that I just said that I take, is that they're not over the counter because of the 24-hour. You have to go up to the pharmacy, and they won't sell you multiple boxes. Like I can't go in there and go, okay, even though they're expensive too, I can't go in and say to uh, um, Walgreens, I can't go in there and say, yeah, I'll take 4 boxes of the 10 pill 24-hour Ds. They'll be like, you can only have one. And then they put you in a system where they look at your ID, um, and then they scan it and make sure that you haven't bought somewhere else in the last 10 days. So they're pretty anal about that, making sure that it's not just at one store, even that you're in a database that it's like weird. Like you're in a database that you have allergies. Okay. Like if you're only selling me 10, what am I going to do with those? It's so much worse stuff that I can buy without having to go to the pharmacist, that could do more damage to me than 10 Claritin Ds. So, um, Jimmy Jones, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? I'm just having a big old allergy attack, I guess, man. It's kind of, I've had a couple I've felt coming up. This is the first one. We've had a couple of 95-degree days, and wow, I usually when the heat comes like that, it's time to to start taking those on a daily basis instead of waking up and playing it day by day, which is what I usually do. I usually have 24-hour Claritin D around the house year round. I'll even go snowboarding. There's some days that I'm just all whacked up, and so I'll take one. But it's rare. Like 10 usually will last me, a month and a half or something. But when summer comes, it's almost like a daily thing for a couple months, and I think we're just getting up on that. Well, yeah, Jim Jones. I see how that Walgreens got me in trouble with their snitch list database, but it's all of them, man. It's I don't know if you have King Supers out here. That's like a Kroger, um, Safeway, um, Walgreens, they all work together. They all are on that same database. That again, it's like it's data sharing again, which we talk about like Lyft and Uber. Lyft and Uber data share now. They used to be completely secretive of each other. Now they data share. So if like you're alleged, if some woman wanted a free ride, you didn't do anything wrong, and you find out you get deactivated for taking her home, and she says you touched her, but she just wanted a free ride, or she said that you were inappropriate or whatever, and they deactivate you, your recourse is very difficult to get to fight that. And that has always been the case. However, now they have a data sharing program where certain offenses that get you deactivated from one platform are shared instantly. Like if it's Lyft, it's shared instantly with Uber Rideshare. And if you do Uber Rideshare, you can expect to be deactivated literally within an hour of being deactivated from Lyft, or vice versa if it went that way. They actually share that data immediately in real time. So it's pretty pathetic. Like you don't even have to do anything wrong on one platform, and all you have to do is be accused on the other one. And a lot of times, as we know, that those accusations are just simply based on I want a free ride. It's so pathetic. I've said many times that there needs to be a system in place where if you're going to make a complaint on a driver, you need to call it in, and then the person for Lyft, Uber, whatever it is, needs to say, okay, happy to take your complaint. By the way, this will be recorded and maybe used in a court of law, because I honestly think that right there would get 90% of the people, maybe more. This is just a guess, but maybe more, to just hang up the phone, because people hear recorded and maybe used in a court of law, and they could word that in a way that isn't threatening to people who are truly calling about it, because they want to hear that. The people who have been sexually assaulted want to hear that it might be used in court law. That's great. But the people who are just scamming don't want to hear that. So they would just hang up. So I don't know. They need to have a system of somehow not just letting anybody that calls get a free ride and then deactivating a driver. It's pretty sad. Right. Most people don't want to call in, but they will. Like if it, it's surprising, man. It depends on the market. Some people do just for a free, if the ride is, especially like, late night surging, if they've been drinking. I don't do late night rides anymore, but like when I used to do bar time rides when the bars would close, um, people would, it'd be surging 3 times or whatever, to the driver a flat rate, but on the multiplier. So whatever normally would cost them, say, under $20 to get home might cost them 50, 55. They might call and fight that just because, they might, maybe it's not a sexual assault. Maybe they're just going to say like, hey, he offended me the whole ride. He was calling me names. He was this, that, the other. That's all. I hate to say it, but that's all it takes to get that free ride. The first tier people at Uber and Lyft are trained to just give you the free ride. They're not trained to argue with you, and they're not trained to kick it up to a supervisor. They're told that hey, make sure that make sure those people are just kicked off the platform and just refund them, kick the driver off the platform. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's a horrible system. I always think that, or I always come up with these ideas that like, why don't they just make it so they have to be recorded or whatever? And this is it makes me um hold on, and I'm gonna read that in just a second. My eyes are going berserk too. So there's the link to join up if you want to join up. Hold on. So don't, first of all, don't be sorry for plugging Pedro's thing. Pedro's a good friend of mine. I've plugged his thing a few times too. Email. The mileage deduction increase for what? For I think $1 deduction for 20. Through the platforms. I'm probably gonna disagree with you on that one, because I think that those are only PR stunts, and if too many drivers end up using them, or if it ends up helping the drivers, they pull away. So they might say, hey, for the next 2 months we're doing this, and then if they find like, whoa, too many people are using this, or it's hurting us more than we thought it would, they just pull it. But they already got the PR from all the newspapers that they donate to and work with. So you got to remember, like, when you see all these articles come out saying, oh, we got the mileage program on the Chicago Tribune or the Miami Herald or New York Times, you got to remember that Uber and Lyft pay so much money to these companies for advertising that sometimes they can write a bad article on these companies, some of the writers, but some of the writers are just there merely to plug them whenever they want to, like, hey, we're going to run a PR campaign. Okay, does it really help anybody? No, but you're going to run it for us and you're going to put a positive spin on it. That's what they do. I know a lot of reporters. I've done a lot of interviews with them. I write myself for a couple things, and so oh, the IRS. Well, I knew that the IRS um, moved 58.5 cents up to 62.5. I think it's 62.5, which, to be honest, is crazy because like UberX in many cities pays 55 cents a mile. So now it's 7.5 cents per mile more that the federal government lets you write off than Uber pays you to do the work. So, oh my gosh. Yeah. 62.5. Yep. Yep. For this calendar year. Um, which, hey, that brings me to the point, guys, of one of the sponsors I have. If you guys haven't checked out Solo, you need to check out Solo. I don't have my link here, but it would probably be in one of the last two videos I did. I'm pretty sure, maybe. And I'll get it in here at the end. Really, our engagement starts on June 15th. For 3 months, I'm doing a marketing promo for them, because what they do is crazy awesome. You know, they're in they started in Seattle, they're in Tampa, Miami, Nashville, Atlanta, and then they're in Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, and Houston. But they were only in Seattle on December 31st of last year. Now they were around for about a year before that too, but they they were only in Seattle for like the first year, and now they're in all these other cities and they're moving quick. And you can download the app, and it actually, right now, even if it's not in your city, the app can help you with taxes. You know, it actually tracks some of the things that other apps do. You know, a lot of apps these days track your mileage or this or that, but this one tracks a few things. But then it also helps you with taxes, whether you want to file quarterly or annually, which we all know can be a pain if you're multi-apping to put all this stuff together at the end of the year. They actually can help you with that, but also you would be then in line to use the Solo app for what its real purpose is, which is to guarantee you payments. And that's pretty awesome. Like, you know, when you go in there and you're picking your times, they ask what apps do you use. You plug your apps in through the API, and then they say, okay, during these times, they'll show you the guaranteed pay for like Instacart, for Lyft, all of them for each hour block. And so if you say, well, no way I can make that on Instacart in those 2 hours, it's awful. I never work Instacart. So I'm just going to go ahead and work this, which I normally do. Um, and so, you know, I'll work this. I'll work this app because I know I can't do that on Instacart. Well, now if you have Solo, you would do it because it's, if it says it, it's guaranteeing it. So if you make half that much, you're still going to get a check from Solo at the daily cash out that covers the difference. So I mean, they're working. It's somebody was in a room the other day and they said, "Hey, isn't this just Prop 22?" No, because $350 million was wasted fighting AB5, just wasted money for Prop 22. And this is a company who's trying to avoid employees and keep us independent contractors. And they're doing it by statistics and using anonymous data to see what really we're all earning to try and get it to the point where it's a reality and can be seen.
Hello.
It's
How's it
raining.
going?
I can hear the rain. Oh my God, I hope that doesn't make my allergies go off worse. This is crazy, dude.
And it's not really actually raining that hard. I'm just sitting under a tree, so the raindrops probably are hitting hard.
No, I just made my allergies feel. It's not the noise, man. I mean, like my eyes were puffy this morning. They're still a little puffy, you know.
Right.
I don't know. I don't, not too often. It's just it's right. I guess it's right about now that it hits us every year where allergies are just hard. Like where you are, it's year round, so you're used to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Maybe.
fortunate that I haven't developed any.
So wait, delivery Panda dude pretty well. Ty.
Yeah, delivery driver, Ty. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is he really wanting me to take his handle away? I don't get it.
Yeah, he's just he doesn't trust himself. Actually, he told me in a DM that he's not trusting of himself or anything to use it appropriately because he said that he might fly off once and ban somebody he shouldn't.
Okay. I'm not worried about that, by the way, because that can always be fixed if like you were like, yeah, okay, kick somebody out, that can always, it's usually just a timeout. We can fix it, but because I like the ability, like if just you were in here and a troll came in, like I said, if I'm in StreamYard, I see it, but I can't do anything about it. What's up, Homer? How are you? Omer, you should join up. It's been a while since you've been on.
I keep getting notifications from vidIQ. My views. I'm like, what? I didn't even realize I actually had that set up. The new channel and stuff.
Wait, but you're getting from what now? Are you getting
vidIQ?
I don't even. What is that? I don't even get those, and I've had a channel for a while.
So. It's an analytics app that you can set up. You basically link your YouTube and stuff up to it, but it gives you analytics and statistics and stuff. There's a free version. I mean, I haven't. I mean, they do have a pro version, but I'm not in a situation yet or anything where I need the pro version. But yeah, I hadn't even really. Okay.
It's better. It's better than the statistics that YouTube gives or something.
Yeah, there's it also even oh gosh, I wouldn't even be doing a very good review and everything if I tried, because I haven't really looked into it, but I know that a lot of really large channels and big YouTubers and everything use it for a lot of their analytics, and they drive a lot of their traffic and stuff through some of their suggestions.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Have you ever been into the analytics for YouTube though? They're pretty good too.
Yeah, I've been seeing it. I try not to get in there too often, just here at the early. I'm just just playing around with the videos and stuff to get used to the tech and how to set stuff up.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I've been seeing your videos. So yeah, we need to. By the way, guys, you got to treat Mac like we treated Bud Soda for a while before he really had content coming out. Bud Soda was getting up near, like, I think he was over 60 or near 100 before he even had a video out of subscribers, because he's always in the conversation. So like Bud Soda, Mac's always in the conversation. So if you haven't, like Omer, I know you haven't, go subscribe to Mac right now. Here, I'm gonna put his link up.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I figured I'd just do stuff right at the beginning or anything of just some things that I thought were cool and I liked and all that stuff, and then I'll get my groove and all that stuff and audience and stuff later. So.
Yeah, well, I always think it's helpful to have a few subscribers come into it. It's just kind of a fire under your ass to like make you go, okay, I really gotta start doing something, because now I got some.
It's worked. It's definitely worked, because I've been wanting to do this for, I moved back here to the Portland area in 2020. So shortly after that, I wanted to start YouTube stuff, and I've collected all kinds of videos. In fact, I've mentioned it before on social stuff, different things. I got over 5 terabytes, the drive that's locked up, and I'd have nowhere to put all this video. So I'm like, well, I'll throw it up on YouTube.
All right, there you go. So anybody, if you just heard that, subscribe to Mac. I just put the link in the show notes, and that way the more subscribers he gets, the more pressure he feels.
Right.
He'll start getting more stuff up.
Yeah, I have to start
So-
making more time. And it's like I said, it's definitely working.
So yeah, Omer, you're dashing in the hood. You're in Seattle, dude. You don't have a hood. I mean, I guess you got a little hood, but not really. It's like when I moved out here, man. When I moved out here and I was doing rideshare, some people would be like, "Hey, you ever been out to this part of Aurora? You know, it's a little sketchy." And I'm from Michigan, dude. So like I'm my whole family's in Lansing and Detroit. And every time I'd get somewhere, I'd be like, "Oh, this is the hood." Like, I'm just looking at it like this looks like an apartment complex in Lansing. This doesn't at all feel like the hood. So I know stuff does go down in Denver all the time, and I'm not trying to for anybody that might be just browsing through YouTube and is like, how dare you say Denver doesn't have a hood? You're some gangster or something. Not trying to offend you, but your hoods are weak.
Well, that's kind of like so many videos that have come out through the Portland area and anything, and talking about all the bad stuff, the tent cities, the homeless, and all that stuff. It's just like, there's just about any city in the nation, you can go and find those spots, and
Right.
isolate those and say, hey, look, this looks, this is tearing or bad and all. But there's still a lot of really good areas.
So and that's what Truth just kind of said was the same thing you said. Like, no, Seattle has a huge not housed population. Like, yeah, there's well,
Right.
so we have that here too. Denver's a big city for homeless issues. Like, it really is. Like, we have a big homeless problem. Yeah, I mean, it's huge.
I mean, granted, when I drive around some of the areas, like the overpasses, some of the buildings, things are kind of looking run down as far as a city from what I remember it as a kid and everything. But and that's probably the most disappointing part for me, is just seeing some of the rundown areas that just all it's going to take and everything is some cleaning up and some paint. But yeah.
Yeah, well, the homeless issue though.
Right.
I don't know. I don't even know. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like, if you do live and if you're thinking every big city has homeless issues, of course they do, but Denver's one of the really big ones. That's why, like, my main charity is the Denver Rescue Mission. Like, I've got a lot of things I would like to donate to, but I'd rather just pick one and be able to give something instead of putting $20 across the board to 10. Rather give 200 to one and feel like I'm doing something. And that's the one I choose out here because we have a huge problem with it, always have. And we keep, like many cities, we already had that problem and we're gentrifying everything. So we're just pushing them farther and farther out. And now, like, they've let, as you get out of the city at exits off the highway, occasionally you'll see a tent, a person asking for money, but you'll see a tent or something. Now, a lot of those, like, triangular areas, the bigger ones, like the exits and enter portals to the highway, have become like tent cities.
Yep.
There's like 25 tents in there in like a little village.
Yeah, that's the same here too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I wondered about that. I was talking to my wife about it the other day, and she had a good point. She's like, well, tents are cheap now. I mean, before, 10 years or so ago, you couldn't go down to Walmart and buy a $30 tent.
No. Right.
So,
yeah, you can go buy. I mean, I saw a 2-man Coleman tent on and I know they're not, I mean, we have some nice tents here too, but we've had some junk ones too for kids when Max was growing up. I just didn't want them in my nice tent. So I'd get, I got a couple of cheaper ones, but you can get like a Coleman tent for like $19.99 on Amazon.
Right.
Like a 2-man.
Yeah.
And they're not junk, dude. Those work. They're fine.
Right.
It's like $20. Yeah. It's weird how everything in life goes up, but there's like some items you can find. You're like, dude, how come they're like, those were 200 when I was a kid.
Right. Exactly.
Well, those are 20,
or the old pole type, it took you, an hour to set up.
Hey, what's up? Zach drives the speed limit.
Exactly.
I only say that, guys, because I just had Zach on the show last week. And so I asked him, I said, so how fast do you drive? He's like, well, that was just, I had to come up with a name. He's like, I actually do the speed limit. So
Which is a good point. When I've been playing around with some of those telemetry stickers with some of the videos, and I've been purposely leaving the speedometer one out because I was like, I don't want any video proof of me speeding. I mean, I try to keep it, I try not to go over 5 miles in any place, but I mean, every once in a while I'll look down. Oh shit, I need to slow down. So
yeah. Yeah, Drone, I see you saying this. You must, I think that, I just turned 50. I know Mac turned 50 a little bit before me. So you're looking at two guys who actually aged really well, by the way. Like Mac and I look really good for 50. But I remember the cloth or the canvas ones too. In fact, I still see those set up in some tree areas where I'm like, is that some like psycho lost his marbles army guy? Or is that like what's going, like it always looks sketchy when I see the canvas ones. I'm like, what's going on back there, dude?
I used one of those to create a little sauna on the beach once back. Gosh, I was in my early 20s. Went to the Oregon coast and everything and set one of those things up and created a little sauna and learned real quick that salt water doesn't work very well on rocks if you want to stay in that thing.
I don't know if any of you guys know this, but so Truth's going to Michigan. I'm originally from Michigan. That's not what I was going to ask, but I don't know if you guys know this, but have any of you guys ever been up to Montana to drive? You might have, Mac.
No,
Okay,
actually, I've never even went through Montana.
Okay,
That's one state I haven't actually been through.
If you take is it the 90? Yeah, because there's the 80 goes through Lincoln and Nebraska. And so, I think it's the 90. If you take the 90 through Montana, in the beginning and the end, it's the speed limit's 90. But when you get into the middle of the state, it's speed limit. I don't remember the wording, but it's speed limit is you must be in control of your vehicle. So you can do 100 if your car is smoothly going down the road. You can do 110 if your car is smoothly going down the road. But if your car's like shaking or bumping and you're doing 85, you can get pulled over for speeding.
Okay, interesting.
So it's all what your car can do.
I'd get in trouble.
It's really kind of funny, man. It is a long state, and it's I
got pulled over once in a Geo Tracker, one of those old tiny, I guess the successor to the Suzuki Samurai. And I remember, I think I was doing 80 or something in between Boise and say the border, the Idaho-Oregon border. And the cop actually told me that it was unsafe for me to be driving the Geo Tracker that fast. And I'm like, are you kidding? No, it's only if I turn.
Right. Right. Well, so you're on the highway. Most cops just sleep. I mean, I think the Montana police have to deal with a lot more wildlife, and I have friends up there. They have to deal with a lot more wildlife, and honestly, some people might think like, well, gosh, that sounds so nice compared to being a police officer in the city. I've heard some tales, man. Like those police officers have to deal with some crap, dude.
How bad?
Like, like if it's really remote stuff, they have to. Some of the domestic disputes can get like into gunfire situations real quick with the police. It's not like where they can get to a domestic real quick and kind of tone it down. It's like, it's like entering like somebody's private property, and up there they're pretty picky, and if they've been drinking, they'll pull their weapon. I don't know. And then there's animal issues. Like there's a bear in my house, and the other teams can't get there quicker. The closest one's a state patrol officer.
I couldn't even imagine that, a bear.
Yeah, I mean, my friends who live up in Durango, it's really kind of funny so my friends Kelly and Leanna, Kelly's the guy, Leanna, so it's a guy and a girl, it's not two girls, but Kelly was at work and Leanna was home alone with their two dogs, and they had just bought this place outside of Durango because they lived in Durango for like 5 years, but they bought this great house up in the mountains, and this bear came into their house. It was a little bear, but she heard they have two huge dogs, and she is like 4 foot nothing. She's like 4'9" or 4'10", and she heard this banging around in the kitchen. She went down there holding the dogs, and they started barking like crazy. And there was a bear in the sink, like just throwing pots and pans all over, looking for things. And she just grabbed the dogs back and started yelling. She's a loud Southern girl. She was just screaming at the top of her lungs. Like, we can't see it all, but they have a Ring doorbell. So we've seen the video of the bear crawling in the transit. Like, they got one of those little open windows on the bottom. The bear like came up to the front door, like he was gonna knock, and then he saw this like little transit, so he like crawled in.
Oh wow!
And it finally ended up being that she like just started banging pots and pans together and like just kind of yelling at the top of her lungs, doing all the things you should. And the bear ended up backing up in their living room to some more like of those type windows. And finally, as it reached the wall, it realized, oh, I'm cornered and stuff. And it turned around and it just ripped one of the screens open and jumped out. But it's about a 2.5-story fall to about a 40-degree slope. So it fell and rolled all the way down the mountain as far as she could see.
That would have been a sight. Dang.
I was like, that bear is coming back for you, Leanna. It's gonna hunt you after it's all repaired. It's probably like all busted up and
revenge.
That's cool. See you later, Zach. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I don't know. How's everybody earning these days? Is it summer slowdown or is it summer jam time?
For me, it's been it's not as good as it's been, but if I stick it out and work through the crap, then I usually pull a pretty decent day.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's how it is here too. And in the summer, actually, summer's pretty damn good. There's something going on in Denver. There's something going on in City Park, which goes from the Capitol to the courthouse, which is like 4 blocks, where they have to block off most of downtown. So they have these like Uber Lyft drop points. They've got things going on, so it's tough for people to even go out to even areas that aren't down there, but that are north and south of there, because people park for these events everywhere, and you can't get a parking spot even temporarily. So you can't even go do pickup or get to a restaurant. So even for delivery drivers, they would rock too. So I don't know. We don't have a summer slowdown. We have a summer it actually picks up a lot. So
I haven't seen. There was not even in Boise. I mean, when I was in Boise and everything, I don't remember summers coming down. I mean, there were, I think, right in the transition when you go from, say like the school days to summer, there was a little bit of a slowdown when some of the college students started to do the gig work and everything. And it got a little bit saturated, but that's about the extent of it.
So, okay. So Rex, you're in San Antonio, right? Wait, is that right? You're in I think you're in San Antonio. If you are too, you should be using Solo, by the way, because that's one of the cities they do have the guaranteed earnings going. So whatever apps you are working, they can show you guaranteed earnings. Make sure you're earning the most of whatever apps you have in your arsenal. It will guarantee whatever it says, even if you don't think so. Even if you're like, I can't make that much. It'll say that, well, no, you will, and then if you don't, they'll pay that difference. So anybody who has Solo in their area should be using Solo for sure. But yeah, so Omer in Seattle says it's a pickup time of year. I bet so, because people don't go up to Seattle unless it's for business, usually in the off months. California. Yeah, California is like a different animal, man. It's
right.
Don't get me started on AB5 and stuff. And the Prop 22 and all this junk. I don't know. I'm not dissing on California. I have a ton of friends there, but I don't know. I don't ever trust it, and it's extremely expensive to live there. I mean, it's expensive to live here too, but yeah. I wonder, man. Everybody talks about summer slowdown, but I'm seeing, already Josh is like, in my market's been good. Haven't seen a slowdown. So I've seen 3 different markets here that are no slowdown, and one was yes, a slowdown. So I don't know. Everybody's talking about summer slowdown. I don't really know that that's a thing like everywhere at all. I think a lot of places pick up. But I will say with the gas prices, how many people are going to be traveling? And speaking of tents, why not just get an RV? Because I'm pretty sure you could walk onto an RV lot and get it for like half the price right now. Because RV people know these. I mean, at least out here, I don't know if you guys have them, but like when you see an RV, there's a couple of RV lots where you can't see the end of them. They're just these huge monster lots of like RVs. And when you look at that, they have that much stock. Yeah. When you have that much stock, I mean, obviously if you just walk around, there's going to be sales on all of them. But that doesn't even mean anything. You could probably just say, I'll give you half that.
I'll have to ask my father-in-law. My father-in-law does, he's a sales guy and everything for an RV, big RV place. He's been doing that stuff for years. So I'll have to find out from him if there's been a change in the market.
I mean, wouldn't you imagine there is? I'm sure people, this is the time of year they jam, right? This is the time of year people are buying them. Right. They want them because they're going to go on summer trips. But who's going to go on a summer trip with a 8 to 10 mile a gallon vehicle?
Right. I've got a buddy in Boise too that has an RV rental company. I'll have to touch bases with him and see how his business is doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Jason P is up there too. He has an RV that he took around during the pandemic with his Prius in tow, and he was going and signing people up for delivery apps and then showing them how to work them and stuff and like getting the referrals. But there's no way he can take that thing out again.
No, he's got to tow it with the Prius now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it seems like those would be like, I mean, I don't know, maybe there needs to be a way to put the maybe there's a solution with the RVs and the homeless.
Right.
I'm not sure how exactly, guys. All of a sudden I was in my head thinking about what's that Ready Player One movie.
Right.
Let's just stack them and like Jengas.
Right.
There you go. What's up, Pull My Gag? How are you? Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of, it's been a week, man. I'm trying to think of, I need somebody to come on here and give me a, for instance, or a story or something. Getting my, like having to do all this, stuff with my son for this week to get him through all his stuff and everything I did. It's just been a crazy week. But I'm gonna flip through my notes real quick and see, because there were some things I don't even think I got to this week. And oddly, I took notes this week on paper and pen. Just because it wasn't quite allergies or 90 degrees. I was sitting out on my backyard, which isn't huge or anything, but I mean, like I have a little backyard, and I was sitting out there having my coffee, and I was like, I'm going to do this with paper and pen. Because I never get to use paper and pen, man.
Yeah. My wife's always telling me, "Where's your notebook?" Because I come across something and I run it by her, and she goes, "Write it down." I'm like, but I'm not used to writing stuff. I want my typey type.
Right.
One of the last episodes you did, I think it was the roundtable rodeo where you guys are talking about weapons, or not weapons, but self-defense. Far as I was thinking, this is what I carry with me.
Yeah, nice.
I've actually had to grab it a couple of times out here.
Right, those are good. The problem with those too is that you damn well better make sure you need to use it, because somebody's going to sue you on that one. Or
make sure you don't get it taken away from you.
Right, like this one, I can just leave the scene after I drop them.
There you go.
So and I got the double mace thing. Like somebody asked me the other day, they're like, well, why do you have bear mace? And I was trying to say, like, I think I said it on Thursday too, like, well, I drop people off. I'm just kind of like watching out too. It's just the bartender and me and the person who's been in that industry forever. But at the same time, dude, it's also my last line of defense. Like if everything went wrong in a rideshare ride, I would, I have two options because I do say this to everybody. Hey, what's up, Arturo? Steve pulled out his typewriter. But I do say this to everybody. Have a, like if you do rideshare, I know not everybody in here does rideshare, but if you did do rideshare, and even if you don't, pretend like you do for a minute. If you did, do you have a plan? Do you have a plan if you're on the highway and somebody puts a gun to the back of your head? Because you should.
Mic check.
No, see, for me, it's if they pull a gun on. See, I'll tell you mine. If they were to pull a gun on me, I know that it doesn't end well. Here in Denver, people get shot all the time, carjacked, that kind of stuff. So when that happens, usually they get shot too. They're not just like, hey, get out. And it's like that. It ends badly. So therefore, if somebody pulls a gun on me, I'm not going to be following their directions. That's my first thing. Like if they're like,
Right.
Pull over at the next exit, get off, or you're going to, no, I'm going to immediately gun it. I'm going to gun it, get it up to 90, 100 miles an hour. And I'm going to look for a cop car because this is also one of my only chances to do this. Because if I see the cop car, I'm going to ram the shit out of it.
Right.
There we go. Problem
Right.
solved. Number two, if the highway's open, whatever, I'm going to hit the middle.
Right.
Because, even if you flip the car and everybody's okay, they're not going to shoot you or deal with you. They're going to be dealing with running away.
Right.
So, it's a lot of rideshare drivers I ask, I'm like, I don't know. I just hope that doesn't happen. To me, that's like the worst answer. You don't have to like go do trial runs. Like, okay, I'll drive it. Like, don't do that. But like, have a plan. Like, at least think it through. Like, what would I do? What would I do if it happened on a city street? What would I, on a city street again? It doesn't even need to just be a police officer. And I hate to say this, but ram another car.
Right.
Like just get going as quick as you can and just ram another car. Try and not hurt them. Try and just side swipe their car or something. But just ram another car to the point where you're going to be tied up with the vehicle, or your car's not going to drive, or this isn't going to be something you just back up from.
Well, it'll definitely bring attention to your vehicle too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because most likely that's going to get because they're not, if they can't take the car, most likely they're not going to go, you asshole, even if they're not hurt, and shoot you and then just run. At that point, it's not worth it to shoot you. So they're just going to worry about, let's just get out and run.
Right.
Because we haven't shot anybody yet or stolen a car or anything. Even if they put the gun to my head, why would you shoot me after an accident?
Right.
At that point, it's like, hey, let's just go rob a different Uber driver. Let's get out of here. And that's even if they can't. Most likely they could be injured or whatever, and it's just going to be what it is. But have a plan. Have a plan when you're doing delivery. Hopefully you know how to watch everything around you. Because people will jump you, man. Stuff happens. Stuff happens more than people think, and then they always think they always think it can't happen to them. And then of course, I've only talked to 2 or 3 people in the 2+ years I've been doing the podcast where they've actually been assaulted. One who had his car jacked from him. But we've seen other pictures and stories too. It does happen. Of course, it doesn't happen to every other driver, but it happens a lot. And I mean, those stats are, if you're just looking and going, well, not in my neighborhood, I'd question that. I don't think if you're like, I live in an area where that doesn't happen. Well, it happens everywhere, and people are getting a little crazy everywhere. So I would question that.
I still don't understand why I see delivery drivers leaving their vehicles running, even if it's to go in. I've done it a couple of times, but it's literally I'm within 3 or 4 steps of the car. If I can't see the car, it's shut off and locked.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of people, and here's the other funny thing about that. some of the people that have said that to me, I say to them, I'm like, see, okay, you're keeping the car running, you're delivering the food, and I always expect them to pick up on this when I say it and go, oh, okay, wait a minute. I see where he's going. But like I say, where are your keys? They're like, oh, they're in the car. So, okay, it's one thing if the fob's on you, because then the car can only go so far. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like
Right.
to say that, no, I leave it in my center console. Okay, so you're leaving your car running with the keys in it, basically. Like, I don't know. The same
Right.
people who tell me they leave their car running seem to always have their keys in the car.
True.
When I ask.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's just double bad. First of all, turn the car up. But second of all, if you for any reason didn't, I would keep that fob in your pocket. I'd keep the fob in your pocket regardless.
Yeah, not to mention insurance-wise, the insurance companies and everything are going to be like, you left your keys in your car? We're not covering it.
Yeah, and in fact, I have my ex-wife, like in our first year of marriage, she's a teacher, and she would do the pre-start thing with her car, you know, from inside the house because it was too cold, so she'd pre-start it, and for whatever reason, she had like carried out her, as if you know teachers, they carry out stuff every day to the car. It's like you'd think they could keep it at the room, but they can't. They bring everything home, they take everything back. It's like a constant shuffle. So she had already like loaded up the car and her keys were in there. And so the car got stolen. She tried, you know, when we reported it, they actually asked, were the keys in the car? And she said no, you know, but they were. And they have a 14-day policy out here where they have 14 days to find your car before your insurance will call it totaled or whatever they do.
Okay.
And it was like the 13th day and they found her car like 60 miles from us in a town called Brighton. And there was like the windows were shattered out in the back. It smelled like piss and crap. There were crack rocks all over the place, and like like somebody went to town partying in this thing and trashed the car beyond.
Okay.
And we ended up getting screwed, dude. Like they were like, well, we found the car, so we're gonna try and repair it. We're like, what?
I don't understand why some of the companies and everything fight so hard. I was rear-ended in 99, and the surgery was in 2001. And the driver that hit me was obviously at fault, and their insurance company fought me the whole time. My medical bills were more than what their policy covered, and the lawyer just couldn't believe it because they said that usually a base for that is 3 times the amount of the medical to start with. And so the medical was already past what their coverage was. And it's like, why are you guys even fighting this? So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what happens, man. I'm pretty sure that I mean, I actually, when I say pretty sure, I'm almost positive because even like criminals, like they get really wise to things. They probably ordered food from DoorDash and Uber Eats and this kind of stuff. So they've seen this and they start to think, like, man, wait a minute. Why aren't we stealing these cars? I seriously think that like, if you're the type of person who does leave the car running and you run up to the door, that, it'd be smart for them to go to like an area that has a few restaurants where a lot of people are picking up all the time and just try and like, oh, that's a nice car. Just follow you out. They know what DoorDash and Uber Eats drivers are now. If you have a really nice car and you're using a nice vehicle to do this in, why not? And even if you don't leave the car in it, they might jack you.
Right.
Because they know you're going to be getting out at houses that aren't yours. So it's almost like, they can like follow you, park, watch you walk the food up, and then as you come back, jump you right as you're getting back in your car. So again, it's it's all this like watch yourself, like have noisemakers, have mace, have a. I know these go against policies, guys, but at the same time, we are independent contractors, and like Hannibal was saying, like on Thursday, that you can't have a knife on you in New York City right now, and I started thinking, well, that's bull. That's bull because I carry a short, fold out Gerber knife with me all the time, all the time. And then when I'm doing production work, like if I was in New York City, it would be because I'm doing production work. If I'm doing production work, I have a Leatherman, and I have a bigger Leatherman that have pretty good knives on them. Like, are those knives? Because all construction workers, and I just don't see how that's a thing. Like, a gun is different, but a knife, I don't know how you can ban people from carrying a knife.
Well, policy or not, I mean, if you got to protect yourself, you got to protect yourself. I mean,
that's what I mean. And again, like, what's the biggest thing that comes out of this? Because you're going to make your own decision. So if somebody else pulled a gun on you and you have a knife and you were able to get it out and you stabbed them, well, I'd be able to explain that to the police. Am I going to be kicked off the platform? Here's my answer. I don't care. That's going to be the least of my worries at that point. So, like, if they're going to go, you had a knife, you're kicked off the platform, I would be like, I'm dealing with you in a minute. First, let me deal with this and the fact that I had to stab somebody. And then I'm going to come after you, though, because I'm going to say, you know what? Forget it. You guys don't protect us at all. And then you try and tell us we're independent, but I'm not carrying an unlicensed gun. I'm not doing anything against the law. Everything I carry, and yes, I have two things of mace. I have I can zap the crap out of you. I can, and all these are at my disposal, and I have a knife on me. Yes. But in Colorado, people have open carry permits left and right. I guess it depends on where you live. I guess it's another market to market thing. Cause here in Colorado, weapons are pretty common. Like, it's not like you're a criminal if you carry a weapon. A lot of people carry weapons out here. So,
that was the same in Idaho. I think it's a little different out here in the Portland area.
Yeah. But for a big city like Denver, so yeah, Portland's like a big city too, so I can compare it. Here in Denver, people carry, people have open carries too, where their gun shows and they walk into a 7-Eleven. They're not police, but their guns show it.
Right.
I'm from Michigan, where a lot of people have guns too, but I'm not used to that. I'm not used to all the. Well, I mean, I am now because I've been out here long enough. But like, I think you can't take a gun into a school, a bank, or a church, I think is what it is.
Right.
But everywhere else, you're allowed to take a gun into if you have a permit. So. Yeah. Knife in a gunfight is bad. Give them the car. Yeah, or just run the car into something, man. Again, like I'd almost want to run the car into something because I would want to catch them. I'd be almost mad.
Set up some sort of ejector button to pop the seatbelts off, except for your own. Right before, hit that button and hang on.
Gary had an idea about. He's like, we need to have a thing set up on the passenger seat and the back seats where if you flip a switch, they all get shocked. I'm like,
nice.
I'm like, dude, that is beyond illegal, man. Like, you're gonna watch that thing short once.
Right.
You got these nice people in the car, and they're all like, you're like, you can't turn it off, man. Like,
malfunction.
I was thinking like maybe like and again, the bear mace is literally because it goes 25 feet. If I had to, I could grab that bear mace and yes, I'm gonna get it too, but just load the car, just then open my door and get out and just start rolling on the ground so I can like get somewhere. I mean, again,
right.
It's not my choice. It's not what I want to do, but and the other thing I've told people too is make sure that you've if you do carry mace, And I know a lot of women carry mace these days and whatnot. Almost every one of them I talk to, I say, have you ever used it? And they've said, I haven't had to. So I'm just glad I have it with me. I'm like, didn't ask if you needed to use it on somebody. I asked if you ever sprayed it, because you don't want to be in a situation going, okay, turn to left for safety, push down. Like, there are
Hold
things
on, I gotta
to
read
help
the
you.
instructions.
Yeah, wait. You know, like
Time out.
you need to know how to pull that, point that. You know, and yes, you're probably going to catch some in the back spray. You are. You know, that's why you want to go practice it somewhere outside. You want to go see, like, okay, how far does this go? How does it work? You know, just try and do it on a not windy day. But yeah, your daughters carry pepper spray. Yeah, but the pepper spray, the only problem with the pepper spray is it doesn't go far enough. That one, from what I know anyway, I've never had to use it, but pepper spray is going to get you every time too, because it just kind of it like mushrooms out. It kind of it backfires too a little. Like, I like the bear mace because it comes out like a stream. It's like, it looks like a fire hose, like a fire from a fire truck. Like when they hit that thing on, it just comes out, dude. Because you can get a bear from 25 feet. Like when I'm camping, I got that. I got one on my backpack side when we're going into camp, and I got one on my belt.
Well,
I'm double ready to take a bear down. You know,
right? Well, there's an idea. Actually, set up a fire extinguisher or something, like underneath your seat, where you can pull a pin and it just like all of a sudden goes off. You can pull that pin and jump out.
Just have
it's hard to breathe.
Grenade.
I've had one of those. Yeah, I've had one of those things go off in close quarter.
With a string that comes over to here, a little eye hook, and then it comes down to like your left hand while you're driving. Right. So then you're like, hey, settle down.
Somebody
actually, that's a good idea. Just get a fake grenade and do that.
Right.
Just have a fake grenade hanging between the driver and the passenger seat, and a string wired, but it doesn't do anything. But just have it wired and be able to tug on it a little bit and be like, guys, watch it.
Passengers will be grabbing that thing, and you have to set up a bell, like, you know, a bus bell, you know.
But that would almost be fun. I mean, because it doesn't work, it would almost be funny to watch the passengers that did, especially if you have a dash cam going. This isn't real. They're drunk. You're like, God, you're dumb. You're right, it's not real, but God, you're dumb. Can't believe you just did that. Yeah, I don't know. That's a interesting or even just a fake one that if you pull the pin and you're like, look out, guys, and then you just you're at a stoplight, you just kind of drop it under your seat and get out.
Right.
You're like, okay, you guys are gonna do something, screw this, and like you shut the door and like start running, and then you just turn around immediately. I bet you'd see all of them booking out of the car, and you'd be able to get right back in.
Right.
And you just flip them off and leave and be like, dummies. Like, why would I have a grenade in my car, you dummies? So he's saying that, like, my theory about, like, okay, these guys are gonna kill me, I'm just gonna run into this car. Like, he's saying that if it was him, let's say if it's Arturo and I run into Arturo, he's gonna be like, man, he's gonna get out, he's gonna stab me into his car. So I'm like, sorry to do that, dude, but I had to get these robbers out. He's like, man, he just started stabbing me. He's like, you trashed my car, man.
Right.
You know, we've never had partitions that do like what the old cab partitions do. Like, I don't know if you guys know about like the New York City cab partitions. I think they can even take a bullet. I'm not 100%, but I think they can take a bullet. Like, I don't know exactly what that means. I don't know if it cracks or it splits or what happens. But like, I think that even people are preventative measure know that. Plus, they're bolted to the top and the bottom, and then they have air vents that go into the back seat. Because one of the biggest problems that we faced during the pandemic was a lot of these companies tried to create partitions
barrier
for
shields.
rideshare.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the problem is you couldn't, everybody that tried to do the real ones, because like Lyft, I don't know if you saw Lyft's, but Lyft wasn't even a good sneeze guard. It just kind of like hung on the headrest. And then it was like this plastic that you could get your arm around on every side or underneath. Or so I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But
Take some saran wrap.
yeah, but I mean, if it's not bolted, then you are breaking the law because you can't cut people off from air conditioning or heat.
Yeah.
So unless you have a really, like I don't have a car that does that in the back seat that has its own vents back there. But unless you have one that has backseat vents,
That would also create a hazard too if you didn't have something bolted down. I mean, in case of an accident, that could become an item that could cause harm.
I did like the guy who made the. I had him on the podcast, like my 16th audio podcast. It's actually been about exactly 2 years right now. But I did have a guy on who had created he called it the AirPod. And he was in Indonesia, but he was an American in Indonesia. And I'm like, Apple's gonna sue the shit out of you, right? He's like right. He was only selling it on Alibaba, but he was selling a lot of them. And the thing, what it did was it could go, there was cutting involved and like there was some work involved that you would have to do or that you would have to take to a shop, and he had instructions in there. So you could take it to a shop and probably get it done for $150-$200 by a mechanic who could say, yeah, I understand what he's saying. I can do this. Or you could do it yourself. And he was willing to always help. But the one thing cool about it was it could go the whole length of the back, or it made a bubble around just the driver's seat. Okay. And it had like elbow room too. It wasn't like a straight cut. It bubbled out a bit. So you had room. But that one to me was like, well, that's the way. Because then you are still getting airflow to the back. Right. And if you got somebody up front, they can't hit you either. Like, I don't think his was he had a couple videos out that were pretty funny because I think he was an ex-Marine or something, but he was taking like a hunting knife, like a big like 12-inch blade, and trying to stab at it from the passenger seat. And he's like, as you can see, there's just a little scuff. But he went to town on it. He's like, ah! Wow. And then he's like, look, I don't think it was bulletproof, but like I always thought that was cool. I was like, yeah, the bubble's pretty cool, man.
Well, even if it wasn't bulletproof, I don't think anybody would take a chance in trying to fire something off with something like that and not knowing that it's bulletproof or not bulletproof.
Well, then you could hook up little spray sensors too from the roof that is like mace that comes down on every seat except yours. So you're in the bubble and you're like, dude, shh.
You get a gas mask that drops down in front of you.
So, yeah, I mean, these are ideas that sound dumb, but there is things like this that are needed. I mean, like, I guess the other thing is they don't want to tell people you should probably carry mace or you should probably carry a knife or, they don't even want to provide us training. So they're definitely not going to safety train us.
Right.
They're not going to say, hey, carry a knife. And then somebody's like, you told me to. And there's like somebody stabbed somebody 7,400 times.
Right.
Like, he didn't tip me. Like, wow, that's not what we meant. Yeah, somebody else join us. Arturo, join us. Get in here. Get in for conversation, man. I'm looking at what I had because there's a couple things again I didn't get to, but the gas subsidies, glad they're gone. I'm glad they're gone. I guess they're coming back. Somebody who was it that was just talking about that? Was it today even? And then yesterday as well? Like somebody was saying to me that like, well, they're looking at bringing, I'm like, just stop with that enough. Sergio from the Rideshare guy and a lot of you guys won't agree with this, but I was saying to him, because he's in LA too, I was saying like, dude, you don't want the gas prices are going nuts. And he goes, bring it. He's like, you know what? Every time they go higher, there's less drivers on the road.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm making more money that makes up for that gas hike every time. Every time
I
there's
like
a
how
little gas hike, he's like, I make more money that day than I did the last because
I like
there's
how
less
Gary actually
drivers.
checks on stuff. When you were talking about the fuel
Yeah.
fuel mileage and everything, Gary's like, well, I don't know about that. I love how he
Yeah.
actually checks on that stuff and everything.
Gary's like he's like my check guy because like I just say things that I've read or heard. Like I try and not use Google at all when we're doing these. I'm trying to do this more old school. Like I don't want Google.
Right.
I mean, if people want to
Right.
Google check me, go ahead. Because I always want the truth to come out. So if you find something different, cool. And I want to learn about it. But I did know, and I mean, even he came to that conclusion that yeah, okay, it could. Like here in Colorado, you might know this too, Mac, from just driving through the mountains. Like if I'm at a quarter tank, man, it burns it a hell of a lot quicker at a quarter
Right.
tank going up the mountain than it does
Right.
if I'm full. It just
Yeah.
does. I know that also like your gas gauge when you're going up a mountain, it turns and stuff. You're empty, it looks really empty. But I'm talking about a 20-mile stretch that I know well, let's say. If I have a quarter tank, I'm burning a lot more gas from here to there. Even when I plateau and the car's flat again, I'll
Right.
see how far it's dropped. I burn a lot more gas that way. And I don't know the schematics or the details on why that happens. All I can tell you is it happens.
Yeah. Right.
This is
Well,
just me from
I'm amazed.
experience.
Yeah, I'm amazed at anything at the difference in the fuel mileage and stuff out here versus when I was driving in Boise. All the hills and everything that we have out here, I'm lucky to get 22 miles to the gallon. I was able to get 28, sometimes 30 miles out in Boise just because it's so flat.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Well, Boise's so flat. Oh yeah, I guess it is.
The majority of it is. I mean, you got the foothills and you've got some of the ritzy, more expensive areas and stuff there, but for the majority of it, it's pretty flat comparatively. I mean, if you look around here, and then I'm sure Denver and everything, you guys have not just little hills, but big hills, mountains.
Yeah. Well, not Denver. You got to go 30 miles.
Okay.
Denver's like Arizona. It's like a desert. Everything east of here and 30 miles west all the way to Golden. Once you're at Golden, then it's the Front Range and everything's going up from there.
And you guys are considered a high altitude too, aren't you, as far as desert?
Yeah. Well, we're at 5280. We're the Mile High City. We're a mile high. Exactly.
Right.
So, in case anybody ever wondered, it's 5280 is the amount of feet in a mile.
Nice. Well, I thought it was funny seeing some of the telemetry with some of the GoPro videos that I've done, and there were a couple areas around Lake Oswego that it was showing negative 117 feet or something like that below sea level, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Something's definitely not right, because I mean, there's hills there, and I know the lake itself isn't even below sea level. So but it's still wild to see the trajectory, just to see the different elevation climbs and everywhere around here. If you're at 500 feet, there's a sign that indicates you're at 500 feet. So we're pretty low.
Yeah, for sure. So looks like Sam checked up on us, and his fuel economy improves at higher altitude in all engines because the pumping work is reduced.
Less air? Well, that seems odd.
The lower vacuum means lower pumping work. The result is better fuel economy. He Googled it and said that's a copy paste. So
okay, right on.
I mean, I was just basing it on the fact of what I know. Like I wasn't basing it on Google or anything. I just know that I always want to fill up before I go into the mountains. A, because mountain towns are more expensive for gas, but B, because it just does. I mean, you just get better fuel. I get better fuel if I'm full when I leave Denver.
Well, and when you constantly run it down to E, way down there and stuff, you're also going to be picking up stuff. I mean, you'll fuel pump and you've got a filter and all that, but still, if you keep it above half, your fuel pump and your filter is going to last a lot longer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the case with everything, though. I mean, like you should I mean, maybe that's a good time to point that out. Most everybody probably in here already knows that, but like, everything, all your fluids you want to top off, you want to check, you want to keep
Right.
an eye on. And I know a lot of us, like maybe you go buy a newer car and you're like, well, I don't have to. And, it's, you do. I mean, I know they make a lot of cars hard to, not all cars are like Dodge pickup trucks from the early 80s where you can like literally crawl inside and like get to
Right.
each piece and easily work on it, even if you don't know about cars. I mean, a lot of these, like I have a Toyota RAV4, it's my second one in a row. They make it so that you can't get to anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I
there's
used to
very
drive
little
vans.
I can do myself.
I got a
It's
full size conversion van and everything that I hated working on. I got to the point to where I had it for, let's see, 3 or 4 years. When it got to its second freeze plug that blew, I was just like, screw it. I'm getting rid of it.
yeah. What is this coming? Oh, I must have missed the one before. Oh, okay, so I am happy that the guest is. Oh, see, yeah, that's a Sergio view, and I thought the same thing, man. Because you know what, it's going to happen. Those subsidies don't help at all.
No.
They don't help at all.
It's a
I mean,
PR
like,
stunt.
yeah, and Kim and I were just dogging on what was it, DoorDash? DoorDash's was a joke, dude. Well, it was
Right.
like $5 for 100 miles and 15 for 250. First of all, 250 miles, they're giving you $15. What's the point?
Well, and it's only one time. I mean, for that week. Once you hit that cap, you're not getting any more. I thought at first when they announced that it was going to be for every 250 miles, you got $15. Now that's still not that great, but it would have been a hell of a lot better than just $15 max per week.
Right, but even 100 miles, you get 5. That's 1 gallon of gas.
Right.
To me, that's just, I don't know. That's not helpful.
Well,
it's only helpful to them. It's a PR stunt.
Right, exactly. And even with Uber, when you pass those things on to the customer, then the tips are going to be reduced because that's the only thing the customers can control. Because the fees and all the other stuff, the only other option they have is to not order. But if they want to order, they have no control over that money. So that's where your tips get adjusted.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, wait, what? This must be exactly referring to what you're talking about, how it capped out.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's how I found out the first time.
That
first
is
week.
A joke. And I know Bud Soda very well. Like, that's a joke.
Yeah.
That's just pathetic. And I hope there's a warning that comes up and says, by the way, at 250, hey, we're not paying you anymore.
No, it doesn't. No,
I'm sure it doesn't. But I mean, that's pathetic because they should be, because otherwise people are going, okay, well, if I do another 100, I'll get 5. They're just kind of counting on those being the numbers. But
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know any. I haven't. I talk to drivers all the time. I haven't talked to any drivers who are like, thank God that they did the fuel subsidy. That really helped me. I haven't talked to one. In fact, most people are like, that didn't help me at all. Literally, even just say that didn't help me one bit. And I'm sure you could claim it did. Like, yes, it did because it got you $5 you wouldn't have had. Okay, but I guess in their book,
for my lunch for one day.
Yeah, and not even. I mean, I don't know where you can get lunch for $5. I can't.
Oh, I'm talking about the 15, just because I drove more. I drove more than I drove more than the 100 to get the 5.
I mean, I even got some good priced food trucks, and they've gone way up too. I mean, and I know the guys. Like, I mean, like when I come in, like I don't know everybody by name, but they all know me. Like, we're all, hey, what's up, man? What's up? What's up? And like, I know that they're not ripping me off. It's just they're paying that much more.
Right.
They're like good.
We stopped doing the Amazon Fresh deliveries to our house because we realized when we saw those receipts and everything and how much Amazon's upcharging on those items. I was just like, we almost doubled our grocery bill. Just go in. I'm like, screw that. See, I'm the only one that drives in our household. So if we want groceries, I've got to go get them. So and I'm like, fine. I'm not spending twice as much on groceries. I'll go get them. That's fine.
Right. Yeah. I want to see if Gary is. I bet you Gary doesn't even know I started early.
I was surprised to see the 30-minute warning.
Well, that's because again, I want to spend some time with my son before he goes to work, and I know he'll be working some weekends too. So I'm open to whenever Sunday is, but it helps me to start a little into the afternoon. Like right now, it's 12:54 here in Colorado. So I'm used to starting in 6 minutes. That's been our thing, is 1 p.m. Colorado time. So 12 Pacific, 3 Eastern. Right. But today I was trying to, and I think he thinks Gary's always like, you're always moving it around, man. But I want to see if he'll jump on here and if he'll run it for a little bit, then I'll bounce and come back. So, because Hannibal counts on us to run these for 6 hours, I guess. He's like, dude, you're my Sunday listen. Like,
oh, I know. See, I was doing the same thing. In fact, I'll have to start getting back out there too. I keep getting alerted by DoorDash telling me that it's super busy.
I'm asking him if he wants to. Yeah, well, I mean, most people can keep working. You can keep working.
Oh yeah. I'll keep working. As far as the audio though, I've got to retool some of the tech that I have and everything to be able to get the audio and all that stuff to come in better while I'm driving. Otherwise, I just totally ruin it for everybody.
Yeah.
I do have the GoPro set up behind me though, getting ready to do some over the shoulder stuff.
Oh, nice. That's like the Atlanta Delivers setup.
Yeah.
Oh, is that a tripod?
Yep.
Will it stay?
It's an old Manfrotto. It's strapped down so that thing does not move.
Okay. Oh, that's a good idea, because I saw I don't know if you saw Flex. Flex changed his angle lately.
I saw it today, yeah.
Yeah, that it's behind him, like here.
Right.
But
right.
It seems like it needs to, and I didn't want to say anything to him because he's still playing with it, but I think it needs to be angled up a little higher. Because it's like the top is barely looking out the windshield, and it's looking into his. And I figured it's because he's got a GoPro with maybe a suction mount on his moonroof,
right,
or something like that. And all you need to do with GoPros is just buy some extension pieces,
right.
And you can bring it down lower.
And you can also angle those. You can angle them to where the lens doesn't have to be completely straight on. Now you'll end up with a little bit of lens distortion or anything at the tops or the bottom of your screen if you're tilting the camera, but you still get pretty good decent video from it.
Yeah. No, it's video is great. It's just, I want to, if he's going for this different view now, and I'm like, well, if you're going to do that, I want to see out the windshield.
Right.
Yeah, plus, I've noticed it's a little harder to hear him too. So I know anytime you make a change in anything, it's learning curves. It's what it is.
Right.
But
I was interested in seeing how this was set up and everything, because I've got the mirror dash cam that can pick up the rear view, and I was wondering how well that would pick up on the camera. So it'll be fun to test.
I think that's kind of one of the best ways to do it is behind you. I haven't, Atlanta Delivers did it. That was the first time I saw it. And now I've seen a couple other people doing it too. And I think that's the best way.
Before I got the seat covers on here, which they're trashed, but I actually hooked up a piece of PVC pipe. I mounted it to the headrest and ran it straight across, and then attached the camera to the actual PVC pipe. It vibrated like hell though, but the GoPro's got pretty good stabilization, but that's the only thing I could run on it. Otherwise, anything else I attached to it, it just shook around so bad. I was like, that video's unusable.
I never even thought about that. Like my tripod even has a little, in the middle of it, when it's stood up like yours is, has a little hook at the bottom that you can put a tie down through.
Right.
So
you just have to make sure it's definitely secure. Yeah, because I've had, before I did that, taking certain turns or something like that, I'd see the camera go whoop. I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah. Um,
I get questions too when I pull up to a drive-through. Somebody sees it back there, and they have all kinds of questions. And it doesn't, it helps too that all the different phone screens and stuff I have in here. Everybody's like, "What are you doing?"
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. So I guess what about curry, man? Are you getting curry orders?
It's for some reason this month. Last month was the biggest month. I actually broke past $1,000 or something like that as far as in curry runs, but this month I haven't taken any yet. I keep getting. There's one booker, and I'll call him out because it's Plaid Electric. The Plaid Electric orders and everything are just crap. They start out at the very, very base. I mean, so low that they're doing those increments every 5 minutes. And then there's no details. I mean, zero details, nothing. And then there's no call button or anything like that. So whenever and they've always had issues. So yeah, I just basically got to the point where I stopped taking those when I can identify them. But other than that, that's the only thing that's been coming through this month so far.
Yeah, this month's, I guess June so far has been a little. I'm right with you. I think that April was really good, and I was like surprisingly good. I kind of knew it was going to get better with the summer and the gas and everything, and I'm like, I'd been getting a lot more orders even in March, but April was really good. May was off the hook, and then like daily 15, 20. I couldn't keep up with them, and like there were one. I would be on one and see another one and be like, damn, like they were all coming through as super good too. And then this month I'm still seeing I think about the same amount, but they seem to be trying to lowball, and then they're doing that raise them quick.
Right.
The one thing I'm stoked about is that people aren't grabbing the low balls.
Right.
Because they are having to raise it pretty quick. Like if somebody puts out some stupid thing like 30 miles, $30, like it's like, nope. And like I'm thinking some idiot's gonna take it and they don't. Curry drivers are wise, dude. They're like, no way, man.
Yeah, and I think there's more people that are wising up too to those electric company orders out here. Their loading process is really slow too. You go there and they've got a will call section, and you have to stay in your vehicle. You're not able to get out, and you have to wait literally for somebody to come up. They'll come up in a golf cart and ask you what you're there for, and then they have to go back and check the order and grab the order. I mean, it could be a half an hour that you're sitting there literally not doing anything but waiting on a pickup. And that's again, I'm like, nope, I'm not going to do those.
Yeah,
it's not a curry thing. It's the booker. So I'm not trying to roll curry under or anything like that because it's definitely not them.
Right. No. It's and you know what? That process I haven't been through. I actually asked Gary if he would do that. Like go through like being a booker, like create an account.
Right.
And just only because I want to see how it asks you, like, you know, like because I've complained about why, like you said, why isn't the field required? Why don't you have to put what the hell I'm going to be carrying?
Well, I couldn't believe that I didn't have a way to contact somebody. Because, I mean, Curry wants us to call ahead, especially if we have, if we're concerned, I had a couple of those dry runs and couldn't fit the stuff in the vehicle. So I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to drive all the way or cut out from a DoorDash order or anything and then end up with nothing. So I went to try to call and no call ahead. I was like, what? I can't even call them. So I had to call support, and support got a hold of them to find out, and we figured out, yeah, it's definitely something I could pick up. But I was just like, how do they even enter something in there without even entering a way to get a hold of the pickup?
Yeah, I mean, I would think that with these companies, because again, for those who Mac and I know, but for those who don't know, that Curry is last mile services for construction needs. And a lot of times, like when when it's a rush delivery, it is so important that they get it. The quickness is so key. That's why they really will overpay beyond control for something, because they just want somebody to grab it and get it to them right now. Like they need it yesterday kind of thing. And so it's not like DoorDash where you just want your food. It's like everybody's stalled on a project and want to go home, and you got to finish this one last piece, but you need a few more things. So just things like that. And like, so the pay comes through is great. I don't understand why Curry, one thing I don't get at all is like why the field is allowed to be blank. And if it's because the customer is like, well, I don't know how to do that part, they should absolutely be calling that person and saying, let me walk you through the rest. Let me type it in for you.
Right.
Like,
right.
what do you got? You know, like,
Well, yeah,
make
because
sure that's
I picked
in
up
there.
right. Yeah, I picked up a breaker, just a breaker switch. That's all it was that went to the coast. That last time I did a coast run, they paid out $200 just for a little breaker switch. And I'm thinking that must have been some specialized breaker switch. If the only closest place they could get one is from Portland, and they obviously needed it. It was a business. It was a seafood place. It wasn't even like like a restaurant or anything like that. It was like a big commercial seafood type warehouse distribution place and stuff. And they obviously needed this circuit breaker.
And they didn't even buy two, like an extra one in case.
Nope. No, right? I know. Exactly.
Hey, man, this part's $1. Okay, I'll pay $201. Well, do you want two of them for $202?
Right? Exactly.
Come on, dude. But they do. I don't know how that payout part works, but you know, I would think that Curry would be better about. It's one of my only complaints about making sure that all of the fields are filled.
The fields. Yep.
I mean, I know that the deal is that they only are giving you orders that will fit in your car. But like Max said, it's not like Rodeo. It's not like half the time you show up and they're like, here's a basketball hoop. And you're like, well, that doesn't fit in my car. And they're like, oh, okay.
Well, the weirdest thing is the ones that I didn't get were actually they call them the ISTs or internal service transit or something like that. That's the Sherwin-Williams orders. And the second one that I got when I showed up there, the guy he was laughing, he was shaking his head because he knew exactly what I was there for. And because I had one previous, like the previous day had a similar setup, and I was like, well, did they not know the dimensions of this? I said, obviously it's probably not an in store. And he's like, oh yeah, it's going in store. I'm like, well then why didn't your guys, so he didn't know. But he obviously knew that, yeah, somebody did fail to put in the dimensions and stuff because that one was, it was bigger than my car. There's no way I would even attempt it. I couldn't even put it on the top.
Yeah. So I don't remember what Granger does. Like, I have electric and plumbing places out here. I can't remember what Granger is exactly.
Granger's same type of stuff. It's like electrical, all kinds of different types of. It's got HVAC, all your different types of trades like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've never had a Granger
Plumbing.
order, but I guess I wouldn't put it past. I mean, Granger would be able to use Curry, of course. But.
See, I'm wondering what the market. I mean. I'd be curious to see what their marketing strategies are, because I know I picked up a Salem to Vancouver. It was a custom like door frames. They were metal door frames for a hospital, and the company that was doing the construction and everything obviously needed those door frames right away. And he was just ecstatic. He was like, wow, I never even thought that I could do this. He's like, when they told me and everything that I could get this shipped out same day, I was just like, are you kidding me? So, I mean, that guy was, happy as could be and didn't even know about the service.
Yeah. All right. Well, I got no word from Gary yet. So in 2 minutes, I'm gonna pull the plug and spend the day with my son. But next week we will have the I'll be back to the 1 o'clock time because that seems to be when. Maybe not for Mac, I don't know, but it seems to be when everybody's.
I'm flexible. I'm usually.
That time seems to work for the East Coast people really well, though, too, of which there's a lot of them, and because that's like 3 p.m. I think that's when it's dead, so they actually have time to get in, and then even as it picks up, stay on. But I don't know. I'm not sure. I think a lot of them are just getting up and just getting into lunch rush, and then they're. By the time that they'll come to see this, it's going to be over. Yeah, Curry is huge in Philly, but I can't remember what you drive, Josh. I know you've emailed me before. But I will say this, that if you are on the Curry wait list and you have a second vehicle, that you don't mind using for just curry, not other gig work, it might be worth putting that other vehicle on there. Just to see some of the offers. The bigger the vehicle gets, the bigger orders you'll get than even I do. So, I mean, if you have a van or a truck or something, you're going to get offers that are amazing, because I get amazing ones with just an SUV. So, curry is definitely the bigger the vehicle, the bigger the payout. So, but yeah, I thought about getting a cheap pickup truck just to run into the ground too for curry.
I was thinking about getting a Sprinter van until the gas prices went up.
But Sprinter vans do okay with those, don't they?
When I was doing medical courier work, the company I worked for actually rented their fleet from Enterprise, and which totally blew me away that they were willing to spend that money. But I guess in the long run, no maintenance and the type of stuff and everything they had to do, it made business sense for them. But they were getting around 12 to 15 miles a gallon.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, not good. I thought they got a little better, but
I mean, that was 2016 too. So that
right, because now I see them everywhere. You know,
right.
There's even videos on YouTube about van life. You know how they convert these into like how they live. That's what happens out here. Like a lot of that stuff is going on here in Colorado. People do the van life thing where they remodel these things into their house and just go live in them. Which is great. But I know that I see a lot more out there. I wonder if they're getting better mileage or not.
We considered doing that with the 3 kids that we have still left at home. We were thinking about doing an RV type of a deal. Hey, let's just go get an RV and just travel around the U.S. and all that stuff and video it. But nah, kids are still too young.
Yeah. So yeah, tomorrow I have Drive to Win 13. Tuesday I got a live stream with Lou and Mary, the Long Island Dash Experience, and Thursday for the roundtable we have Dasher Pass, Faith, or as Flex calls her, accept or decline. We love you, Faith. So I'm glad she's coming back. I know she's been home in Texas dealing with some family stuff, and I know she's finally back and around, and things are going better in that. So glad to see that we will have her back on here. And yeah, check out Mac's channel too. I put it up before. Now I don't. Do I still have the link? I wonder if I do. It's probably still in here. Yeah. So I didn't put any kind of preface to it. But if you guys haven't checked out Mac's channel, subscribe, because the more subscribers he gets, the more he feels pressure to put up content.
And that is absolutely true. I mean, yeah. I mean, after you guys did that last Sunday or the Sunday before and everything, yeah, I was like, okay, I got to get some videos up there at least.
So yeah, subscribe to that I just put. And it's it's a couple hours. I'm gonna go hang out with my son here for a while, guys. I'm still suffering from allergies too. But oh, by the way, the last thing I wanted to show you guys that when I was working for Laser on one of the Carnival cruise lines, and I got off the boat because how we used to work in Miami was when the boats come in, they deboard at 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. and then they reboard at 4 p.m. and they leave. And so we would get on right at 7 as they're deboarding and try and get everything fixed at whatever the problem was. But if you didn't get it fixed by 3:30, you were stuck on the boat to work until the following day. And they didn't even do us the courtesy of giving us like a room. We just had to sleep like in the theaters or like whatever, or figure it out. But then you'd get off at the next port. Anyway, this guy said, "Hey, Ray-Bans. And I know better, but he's like, Ray-Bans, $40. And I'm like, I'm not paying $40 for those. And he said, okay, Ray-Bans, $30. And I'm like, no. And he's like 2 for $20. And I'm like, all right, let me see them. So I got one pair of Ray-Bans that right here, they say Ray-Ban. Okay. Then I got this pair He forgot to put the sticker on, obviously, the fake sticker. neither of them are Ray-Bans. They both scratch really heavy. They're both junk. So in Mexico, Ray-Ban just means some guy found a sticker company that says Ray-Ban, and he puts it on all of his sunglasses. So don't buy Ray-Bans down there. But that's all.
Nice. I just realized something. I killed my battery sitting here this long.
For your car?
Yeah, I started seeing stuff on the dash. My radio display and everything started wigging out, and I'm like, "What's going on?" I'm getting notification. I'm like, "What?" I went to go turn the key, dead. I'm like,
what?
oh man. Yep, I just killed my battery. It's completely dead. I mean, not even a dee or nothing.
Are you where people are?
Oh yeah, I can do roadside. I can get somebody here.
Oh,
I've got jumper cables too. I mean, it's just not. I'm at a park and ride right now.
Okay. Shit.
I'll be good. It's just pretty comical. I'm like, oh my god, I didn't even realize that. I should have been starting the car up every once in a while.
Yeah. Shit. Why would
all
it
the other
have
screens
killed
are
it that? Well, I guess.
Yeah, I've been here 2 hours.
Yeah. Shit.
2 hours with everything basically running. I mean, I don't even know why. I should have shut the dash cam had been recording too. That was kind of dumb. I didn't realize it was still running.
Well, now you can make a video on while the roadside's coming on what happened.
Right. Yeah, there's still battery. I got plenty of battery power for the electronics, just not the car.
Hey, what's up, Brandon? How are you?
Too bad I didn't have a standard.
Yeah, we're shutting this down for the day. So you guys, thanks for joining us. Next week, be back on the 1 p.m. Well, the 12 p.m. Pacific, 1 or 3 p.m. Eastern time for this. But I just had to do it today early so I can have some time with my son before he starts his amazingly crazy paying job for a first job for a 15-year-old, $18 an hour to be a lifeguard.
That's awesome.
I mean, that's just insane, dude.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I told him, and he just, I almost don't want to tell him these things because he just makes jokes like, oh, the olden days. And like, I'm just like, shut up, dude. But like, it's like I was making $5.85 in a dish tank in Michigan. That's what minimum wage was.
It's kind of funny. I didn't we used to say and everything we'd never be like our, back in my day.
Right.
We do it. Well, I'll do it still. I do it. Like,
yeah. The only the thing that, and I feel bad for him more than anything, is that the cost of living is going to be quadruple when he's older.
Right.
So really, like, they're just getting him ready for what that cost of living is going to, like, even when he's 40, he's going to look back and be like, I can't believe I just used to make 18 an hour.
Right.
And we look back and go, I can't believe I used to make $5 an hour.
Exactly.
Like with maybe a couple dollar tip out from the waitresses.
Right.
Maybe you'd get like $6-7. And if you were underage, you'd walk over to 7-Eleven and just stand there and try and get somebody to buy beer for you or something.
Yep, the old shoulder tapping. Oh, there's a car coming up. Maybe I might be able to grab my jumper cables.
Yeah, just wave jumper cables. I always stop for people doing that.
Well,
I do. I stop for everybody.
Pop the hood.
Especially if they have. That's a bit, because I have them too, but I have good ones too, but like, I don't like pulling mine out. People are like holding them, so I know the issue is a jump and they have the cables.
Right, that's true. Okay.
I don't care.
Sure.
So everybody sub to Mac and then wish him well that he gets a jump here really quick.
I guess if I had to walk, I'm let's see, maybe a mile and a half from my house. So it's not too bad of a walk.
Oh, you could just walk home.
Right. Yeah, go grab one of the, our oldest has a van there at the apartments. We could always, but by the time I did that and got over here, I'd have roadside if I had to.
Yeah, couldn't you just call him?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's,
no, I mean, your oldest.
Well, no, yeah, I could. It's just it's a weird situation. Our apartments, the parking there is horrendous. So the visitor, because he's not on the lease. He's kind of staying with us temporarily and stuff. But he's got a parking visitor, and visitor's a coveted spot. And if you move,
so it's like New York City, dude. I'm in a parking spot.
Exactly. Yep.
I'm not.
Yeah, he
giving it
doesn't want to
up.
go anywhere because he doesn't want to lose it.
Yeah. Well, hey, Grandpa Brandon, that's something that should be on your Amazon store then, or maybe it is, but I didn't see it. By the
Yeah,
way,
that's true.
Brandon has an Amazon store now, and so people that have Amazon stores, go to them, guys. Any of our friends that have them, because those affiliate links don't charge any more for the item, gives them a little bit of a kickback,
Right.
and it takes it away from Amazon. You're not paying anymore. But then even if you don't buy anything that Brandon, like, say, has on his site, if you click the link to go to his store, and then you end up shopping on Amazon and getting other things, he still gets a small percentage of anything you buy
Right.
if you went through his link. So I don't know. I'm a big advocate for everybody to set up an Amazon store of things you like,
Sure.
because
Yeah.
it takes away from Amazon, and it's a little residual income.
That's a good idea though, because I went and got an air compressor, so at least I got my tires taken care of if I need to. But yeah, I'll have to get a jump box.
Yeah, I mean, because there's things I really, that I've bought like 1, 2, or 3 of on Amazon. Like the first 2 were junk. The third one was like, oh, this is really good. I should make an Amazon store to tell people, hey, if you're going to need one of these things, get this one.
Right.
Because I went through just trial and error, going off Amazon ratings and stuff and price, and, may have made some bad choices. So, but yeah, guys, I'm out of here, and we gotta all send Mac good energy. The only way we can do that is by subbing to his channel. So I put it up there. So
thank you.
Yeah, well, I'll put it one last time in here. Look, there it is. So if everybody could subscribe to Mac's channel, if we can get him 10 subs up today or something, that would be, again, he would have that fire under his ass to like, okay, now I got to get going. This is getting ridiculous. So
right on.
And so that's our goal, is to give him the jump start. So the jump start on YouTube and the jump start of his car. So the dual jump start. He needs the dual jump start today. All right.
This should be fun. Thanks, Steve.
Oh, wait. You can just miss me. Okay. Gary's not coming on. So yeah, we're signing off, guys. Peace.
All right.
Have a good one, you guys. We'll see you.